So welcome back to our channel. Welcome to Adictos al Crimen. This is our first English video that we're doing. Usually we do them in Spanish, but we decided to do this case in English because we feel like it's really an important case and that we just wanted to share with the community. So this case happened in Logan, Utah in 2019, and it's about Elizabeth Lizzy Shelley. And she was, like I said, a 5-year-old girl. And we're going to talk about her story. We're doing this with a lot of respect for her family and community, but this touched us really close because we both lived in Utah in Logan, Utah, actually, for years and years, and this case got to us. So we just wanted to share it. And Jenny is going to talk to you guys right now a little bit about who Elizabeth was and introduce us into the case.
Thank you, Carolina. So just before we start, I want to let you guys know that due to YouTube censoring, we are not able to say specific words that are of graphic nature. And so we're going to describe some things, but if you want to see actual details about the case, please go to the resources that we've cited because you will see all the information there. And then second, like Carolina said, we want to do this in loving memory of Lizzy. The Logan community was very impacted by this. And so we want to do this with respect for them and a lot of love for them because Lizzy was everybody's child when this happened. And Carolina has 3 kids. I'm the aunt of 11. And so as adults, we always want to keep our kids safe and make sure that nothing bad ever happens to them. But sometimes things happen that are really out of our control. And this is one of those situations. So this is done for a lot of love for Lizzy, her family, and the community in Logan. So to start, we're starting on a Friday, May 24th of 2019. It was the evening time, and the people that are involved here are going to be Lizzy, obviously, her mother Jessica, her uncle Alex, and her stepdad. So they're the ones that are the very most involved with this. So Jessica actually messaged Alex Whipple, and Alex Whipple was her estranged brother. They did not have a very close relationship, and so keep that in mind throughout the story. So she messaged him to come over, have a couple beers on Friday night, and so he accepted. And so that night, Alex Whipple arrived to Jessica's home around 10 p.m. at night. So at that time, Elizabeth and her sister were already in bed. They did not see Whipple at all. And so after a couple of hours of drinking, Jessica decided that she was going to go to bed. And so she told Whipple that he could crash on the couch because she knew that he'd been drinking. He'd arrived in his skateboard, and it's her brother, so he was just going to crash on the couch. In court documents, Jessica's story was confirmed by her boyfriend. He also told police that he went to bed around midnight and that Elizabeth was in bed at the time. Her bedroom and her sister's bedroom were right next to Jessica's bedroom. And so he peered in and looked on the girls and noticed that they were asleep. And again, he thought that Alex was going to pass out on the couch drunk, so he left him there. So when he checked in on the girls, he did recall that Lizzy was wearing a red tank top with the 4th of July theme on it, kind of like when you go to Walmart or you go to Target and you get those things for your kids. And most important of all, a teal skirt with white lace on it. This is going to be a very important item later on in our story. So Jessica's boyfriend corroborated his girlfriend's story. He told police the same story and that he had last seen the girls around midnight. 25th, there was a 7-hour span of 2 a.m. and 9 a.m. where nobody knows what happened. So at this time, everybody was sleeping. And so this is when we think, and the police thinks that Alex took Lizzy with him and they didn't know where. So at approximately 9:30 a.m., Jessica woke up and found the front door wide open. This blew red flags to her all over because she knew something was wrong. So she called out for both Elizabeth and her brother and could not find him anywhere. Court documents state that Alex left his cell phone and his skateboard at her residence and didn't take anything with him. So next, we're going to go on to her being actually reported missing, and Caroline is going to tell us about that.
Yes, so at 10 a.m. that same day, so it was like 15 minutes or so that they were looking for her. So her stepdad called 911, and the operator answered, and he said, "My daughter's missing. We looked for her everywhere and we can't find her." So they took it serious, like really serious right away, and they started asking, like, how old was she? What's her name? What was the color of hair? Everything, how high everything she was, and when was the last time they seen her. And he said it was around 2 a.m. when I went to bed. I seen her that she was in bed, and he just went to bed and never seen her again. So they asked him if they checked with somebody else, like if she could have gone out of the door and just maybe gone to a neighbor's or a family member's house, and they said they checked that already too. They said they also looked in the closets, under the beds, everywhere, and they couldn't find her. And he also reported, he said, well, my girlfriend's brother was staying with us that night, and he is also disappeared because he was staying there to have some beers and stuff with them. So the operator asked him, "Did you try to reach out to him?" And he said, "Yes, I tried to reach out to him on Facebook Messenger, but he's not answering." So when he said that, Elizabeth's mom says, "Well, he left his phone here." So that's when they knew. So they took the report, and the police showed up within around 10 minutes, and that's pretty good. The police station is really close to where they live, because Logan is a really small city, and right where they live is really close to a police department. But in between they taking the report and stuff, it took around 10 minutes maximum for them to get there. So they get there, and the police start looking for her right away, looking and starting, because I feel like they kind of knew that something was going on that was not okay, because both of them were disappearing. And they were not like close people with this uncle. He just was there to drink some beer, which is kind of something out of the room, but he was not really a close person to the family. So that's when they got more alert. So the police takes the report, does all that, and at 3 p.m. the same day, they find Alex, and they find him walking, and they do find him around 2400 West and 8000 South in Logan. And he was in the possession of a baseball bat hat, and then he had a pipe commonly used for narcotic, and then he had a beer can, and then also he was smoking some stuff. So they found illegal substances with him and stuff. So when they find him, the officer, there's actually a video that you can see on that we're gonna play some little pictures of the video that was reported by the news. But anyways, you can see him, the police approaching him, and they already think it's him, but they want him to identify himself, which he doesn't. So he asks why they need to know his name, why do they need to know who he is, and they say there's a crime that has been being committed and we're looking for somebody. And he's like, it's not me. And they're like, well, just tell us who you are, maybe we can let you go on your way. And he would not do that. So finally, after a while, he gets kind of like more aggressive. So they throw him on the floor, they arrest him, and that's when they get his wallet, and from there they get his identification, and they confirm that it's him. So they ask him right away, where's your niece? What did you do with her? And he's like, what are you talking about? I don't know. And he has this horrible demeanor. So anyways, they take him to jail, and that's when Jenny's going to tell us a little bit what happens in there when he's in jail.
Well, so he's actually taken to the police station.
Sorry about that.
The police station. And so they handcuff him and take him to the police station. And like we've all seen in movies or other shows, they're put into a room where the police are going to talk to them and see what kind of information they can get. Well, at the time of being in the room, he was handcuffed. But in order to talk to him, the investigators took his handcuffs off and left the room. Well, at this time, the investigators are looking at him through the cameras, and they see that he was trying to lick his hands and try and wipe them clean of all evidence. So luckily, the police were able to catch him, put his hands back into handcuffs, and preserve that evidence in his hands. So, I mean, the Logan Police Department and the FBI and everybody that worked on this, they did an amazing job at really being on top of everything, and making sure that they were able to investigate everything as best as possible. So during the interview with the police, Alex initially denied going over to Jessica's house on Friday. He changed his story several times, stating the last time he went to his sister's house was 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago. So during the interview with the police, Alex initially denied going over to Jessica's house on Friday night. He changed his story several times, stating the last time he went to his sister's house was 2 days ago and 2 weeks ago. So when the police confronted him with the inconsistencies, Alex admitted to going over to Jessica's home on Friday night. So court documents state that Alex said that he drank a couple of beers at Jessica's house and then left the residence to go on a walk because he could tell that his sister didn't want him there, or was too busy, or was going to go to sleep. Like, he just made it up that he shouldn't have been there. Well, he told police that he didn't want his sister to be upset, so he was going to go for a walk and enjoy the scenery just before sunrise. So he claims that he had not seen Elizabeth in a while and he never saw her in the home. Well, this is really inconsistent because in May in Logan, it's cold, it's a valley, it's in between mountains, and there's really no really scenery to go see at that hour of the morning. So the police know that he's lying. So when the police ask why he left his cell phone and skateboard and why he left the door open, Alex claimed that he didn't know that had happened and that he didn't need his personal items. So Alex never denied nor admitted to being involved in Elizabeth's disappearance. He told investigators about how cruel the world is, his struggles as a child, and how his family had been horrible to him. So he was really trying to divert the attention to poor Alex instead of what was really the main task, which was to look for Elizabeth. So he also told police that when he drinks alcohol, he blacks out sometimes. And when he blacks out, he does criminal things. So he didn't elaborate on what criminal things, but he's giving the police officers and investigators a lot of clues here. So during the interview, investigators noticed dark color stains on Alex's pants that were considered consistent with dried blood. So they also noticed several cuts on his dirty fingers, and his hands were really dirty too. And remember, this is the evidence that he was trying to lick off of his hands. So throughout the night, several search warrants were obtained and served on several potential crime scenes and evidence and possessions of Alex. So the evidence was positive, confirming that there was forensic evidence that linked him to Elizabeth. So this is huge because now they know that their suspect is the person that they should be looking at. So the next day, Sunday, May 26th, Carolina will take over.
Okay, so May 26th, 3:45 p.m., the authorities decided that they were going to expand the search, and they decided to expand it to the Southwest Logan, Newly Hiram, and Mount Sterling area. And they asked the residents to look for anything that looked weird or anything out of place that they could report it. But they did ask the people not to go out to look for her because they had enough agencies and people that were looking for her. So there were around like 15 agencies engaged in the search. One of those was the FBI, Homeland Security. There was, again, we hear Utah Highway Patrol, all kinds of agencies where like anybody that was available that worked for the government, they were called in, and they had hours and hours, 15-hour shifts of people working and trying to find her. So that's all they asked, like for people to report anything weird, which I guess people did and reported a lot of different things um, through the days. So I'm going to give you a little bit more of a timeline right now. So on May 27, which is Monday, right, at 8:30 a.m., the crews decided to resume the search for her at dawn, and they started combining through a field of 1,000 west and 300 south in Logan. So that's where they started their search. They were trying to look because they looked in the neighborhoods, they couldn't find anything. And like Jenny says, Logan is a valley, so they were trying to look around where the fields are, which is kind of close to where she lived. So at 11 a.m., the Logan Police Department hosted a press conference regarding Elizabeth's disappearance. They also, that same day, her family or friends, I'm not sure exactly who created the page, but they created a page for her. I'm not going to say the name, I will post the link to it on the description, that was created by her family. Right now, it's only a memory one, but at that time, it was so that we will have information updated. So at 6:30 p.m., News Channel 2 obtained court documents regarding Alex Whipple, and those court documents were talking about the crimes that he's been arrested for before. He has like 10, like a really big rap sheet, but that he's been a convicted felon. But all those crimes that he has committed before were nothing related to or anything that will give you the thought that he could do anything related to a child. Um, but he was a felon, so there's that. So 8:30 p.m., the search for Elizabeth was called off on that day until Tuesday morning, right? So Tuesday now, Tuesday, May 28th at 8:30 a.m., the crews are gathering to search on the Logan fairgrounds, which we'll post a picture, kind of what it looks like right now. And that's also really close to her house, like maybe 3 blocks away or so from her house. It's not really far. So at 10:30 a.m., the Whipple was charged with crimes unrelated to Elizabeth, but they wanted to keep him in custody so that they knew that it would give him time for them to like check all the evidence that they have found on him. So they charged him with the crimes that he committed while he was trying to get arrested. Well, what they were trying to get him arrested, I should say. So like not cooperating with the police and carrying illegal substances and all of those. Okay. So at 11 a.m., Sheriff Gary Jensen of the Logan Police Department said, "We have strong evidence connecting Alex to Lizzy's disappearance," during a press conference. And they were doing press conference all the time and updating us, the public, constantly. So they were on top of their game at all moments. So Jensen says that they anticipate that we will go before a court in connection to this case, but for now, police are concerned with finding Lizzy for her family. Police was being searching the 0.5-mile radius near Elizabeth's home. So it's like nothing. You could walk around that area, right? And yes, they were looking everywhere trying to find her. Surveillance footage that they had, that some neighbors showed that where he walked, they could see him on the camera, and that's as far as I know that they have on video. So at 1:30 p.m., Whipple appeared at a court appeal hearing concerning the criminal charges that I just said that they were charged against him. And the judge, Kevin Allen, ordered that he be held without bail because his lawyer wanted him to be bailed out. But by that time, the police knew that a lot of dads already said that if they found him on the street, they would take care of him because Elizabeth was everybody's daughter. And what, like, yeah, who would want a criminal like that in the streets? So the judge decided that it was better for him to stay in jail. At 8 p.m., the search for Lizzy was called off until Wednesday morning. And now Jenny's going to tell you what happened on Wednesday morning.
So think about it. Now it's Wednesday. She disappeared Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's been 5 days since we've known where she was. So things are very tense at this time, and people are really desperate to figure out where she is. So at 8:30 a.m., crews resumed searching for her in Logan. At 11 a.m., charges related to Lizzy's disappearance were filed against Alex. So he was charged with things that we can't really say on YouTube because they're graphic, but it's regarding into him taking her and the things he could have done to her. So newly released court documents detailed evidence found by police in a timeline of events and interviews with Alex and witnesses. So this is a lot of the information that we've given you now is that timeline. So investigators found several pieces of evidence near the Shelley home. A knife was found in the northwest corner of the Bear River Charter School parking lot. This is huge because it was consistent with a knife that was missing from Jessica's kitchen. So he took it from his sister's house. In the same area, they found a PVC pipe that was located and had red substance on it and a partial palm print. So these items are key evidence of what was going on. They're really good clues for the police. So approximately 50 yards away, investigators found a teal skirt with white lace that appeared to be buried under some dirt and bark. So remember in the beginning, we told you what she was wearing. Now they know for a fact that this was hers. So at the same time, a neighbor near the area of 470 West and Center Street called police. So everybody in Logan knew what was going on, and the police was asking people that if you see something that doesn't look right, call us. Any clues were very useful to them. So this neighbor found a beer can in his garbage can. And he said, I don't drink, and I don't have that kind of beer in my house. And this beer, the brand of it, was the same brand that the police had found on Alex Whipple when they arrested him. So they were able to take that as evidence because now they had an idea of maybe where he had gone. So swabs were taken from the evidence to test for Elizabeth's DNA, and blood found on the knife, on Alex's watch, and on a hooded sweatshirt that he had been wearing all had positive matches to Elizabeth's DNA profile. So the beer can was also tested, and it proved to be matching DNA to Alex, and the partial palm print on the PVC pipe was also determined to be Alex's. So police say that even though they hadn't found Elizabeth's body, they believe there was enough evidence to charge Elizabeth with what he did to her and taking her. So Carolina is going to tell us the rest of the things that happened during that day.
So at 11:30 a.m., the Logan Police Department hosted a press conference again to address the charges filed against Whipple. Go through the timeline, the events, and kind of do what we are doing right now with you guys. So at 1:45 p.m., police searched an area a quarter of a mile from her house because they received a credible tip. That's what they said. So at 2:10 p.m., Elizabeth's body was found and discovered in an overgrown area where investigators were searching. Alex Whipple attorney Shannon Demler told News Channel 2 that he has known the Whipple family for the most of his life because he has represented them, and he told them that he represented Whipple with he presented him with the facts and the evidence that when he revealed where the 5-year-old body was located. So that was how they got that tip. So the police knew it was him. So
yeah, and he dealt with them.
Right, he wasn't gonna talk. So what they did is they offered him a plea deal, and they asked him to tell them where the body was, so that they could find her. And in exchange, they were gonna take the death penalty off the table. And this we found out as the press conference was going on. So that's how they found her body. And the lawyer said that his client was emotional, but he didn't have no reason to be involved in anything such as this. That's what he told his lawyer. But obviously, we already knew he did this. He just said he didn't have any reasons. Um, Elizabeth was buried in a small white coffin decorated with rainbow colored butterflies and the words "Live like Lizzy." Her mom always says that that's the word that she wants to live by, and that she wants all of us to remember her by is "Live like Lizzy," because she was such a happy kid, such an emotional person, such a good kid, a good little girl, 5 year old. She loved rainbows and she loved butterflies. Um, so yeah, he was convicted, and now he's sitting in jail for the rest of his life, like without parole, and hopefully he never sees the light of the outside ever again. And hopefully, this is just my opinion. Hopefully, somebody takes care of him in jail, in prison, I should say.
Oh, we can say
So
that.
right.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. This has been like an emotional case for us, one that it really touched us. Like we say, we lived there. We actually, my house is like in the same block of her house was, so really touched us. And seeing the community come together, leaving her flowers, leaving her teddy bears on her step, helping the family as much as they could. They were outside like with the candles and stuff, lighting candles for her and being all together. It just got to all of us because Lizzy was the daughter of everybody. So yeah. And sometimes bad things like this happen and there's really nothing that you can do to prevent it. But we felt like she deserved her story to be told. So Jenny, do you want to add anything else before we close our first English episode?
No, thank you everybody for your support. And if you want more English episodes, let us know and we'll be happy to make them. We just don't want to tell the same stories over and
Yeah.
over, where you can find them somewhere else. So
Yeah, we're
let,
preparing
yeah,
some
let us
different
know
ones.
your opinions. Let us know what we can improve on, anything else that you want to see, any special cases you want us to talk about. We'll be bringing a lot more to you, and hopefully we'll see you next Friday.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Bye bye.
Bye.